Okay, give me a second. Let me close this up.
Right, that's how we started. So
Oh,
welcome to episode 2 of the Elitist Pizza Podcast. So today, I'll be interviewing our guest. So let's just jump right into it. So I have here in the show notes that you have 122 accusations of sexual assault. What do you have to say about that?
123. 123.
123. Was
So
it really 123, Jamie? Yep, that happened just 30 minutes ago. Okay, well, 123.
so
What do you have to
obviously,
say about that? How innocent are you?
how innocent am I? Well, I can't really speak on it because it's an open case. But what I can say is, okay, so it's 123 accusations, right? To my knowledge, it's happened 30 minutes ago, so I'm a little wonky. But to my knowledge, at least, not least, I would say at least 120 of them are not just accusations.
At least 120 are real.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said. I said that.
You just acted it. So, do
they may,
you?
they may have me on video, but I'm going to maintain my innocence until I'm in court. And then when I'm in court and I see the judge, hopefully I can make it 125 accusations.
Okay, well, that sounds like premeditation.
I'm not meditating, bro. That's disgusting. You can't do that in public.
My show notes say that 2 of them were actually turtles.
You like what you like, man. I remember I was watching the live action Ninja Turtle TV show, and they had the light blue.
That's where it started.
Yeah, it had the light blue Ninja Turtle girl, and I was like, oh man, oh my gosh, I need that in my life.
That's really, you gotta blame those guys.
Exactly, it's not really my fault. If you really want to think about it, like logically, it's just not my fault.
So, yep. I mean, I get you. I mean, you're the real victim here.
Exactly. They're always trying to keep a black man down. I'm always going to defend my people.
I mean, for centuries in America, white women have been. This is what happens. I mean, they have consensual sex with a black man, and they go to the family, and they say the family's like racist, and they say that he was raped and that she was raped, and the black man goes on, he gets the short end of the stick.
Yeah, I know it's messed up, and
Can't catch a break.
messed up. It's really messed up because when I did it,
Allegedly.
Yeah, Jamie, go ahead and cut that. They don't need to hear that.
What? You didn't specify what it was. By it, do you mean being black?
Yeah. That was the only crime I really committed. And honestly, I'm trying to go through the transracial process of turning into I'm a 19-year-old black man, but I'm trying to turn into a 37-year-old white woman. So transitioning, but without any of the sex or the race changes. So I'm just gonna tell people that's what I am, and yeah, I'm gonna go from there. And from now on, you can call me Linda.
I thought you were gonna go with Karen, but
nah.
So, all right. Well, now that we got that part of the interview out of the way, let's talk about Iron Man 1.
All right, man. I've been really excited for this ever since we mentioned this in the the last episode. I remember I briefly mentioned Iron Man 1, before some demon from the pits of hell just ripped our audio and took it to.
That's we were gonna go with that story, but I think we got to tell the truth. I mean, there were so much graphic content, so many racial slurs. So I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah,
so many swear words that we couldn't put on. We couldn't even. I don't even think Lively. I think Lively would take it down. Honestly.
Yeah.
We really took the show in a different direction.
As far as the racial slurs go, again, I want to apologize to you. I shouldn't have said any of those things. You've been nothing but kind to me, and I really had to call you a cracker with the hard R. So I apologize.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's like 1% of my ancestry is Native American. So, it's really not even that big of a deal. I mean, so
What are you, Cherokee?
I think how like every white person believes that they're like, every white American believes that they're part Indian. Okay, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry for oh God, oh, my life's
Cancel.
ruined.
Cancel.
Native American. Um, and my paternal grandma always said that we were part Cherokee, but I don't think there's actually any evidence for that. I think my dad did the ancestor thing, and nothing of that came up. So I don't really believe in part Cherokee. On my mom's side. So what the Trail of Tears was, right?
Yeah.
So after they, how do you want to say it, deposed the Cherokee of their land in northwestern Georgia, they had a land lottery. So like random people got big chunks of land, and my ancestors on my mom's side actually got some of that land, and some of that land is still like my grandma owns it now. It's all how it's gotten divided up by the family, but my family still has Cherokee land, stolen Cherokee land. Like there's a direct lineage to the Andrew Jackson.
That's actually pretty crazy.
I actually have ancestors on my dad's side that owned slaves in South Carolina too. So how a lot of white people would be like, most, who would say, you want me to say sorry for slavery, but most white people didn't even own slavery. I can't use that excuse. I gotta be like, yeah, sorry about that one. Jeez.
Yeah. You're one of the few who actually have to apologize.
Yeah. It was in South Carolina, Kwan, so maybe, somewhere, our ancestors crossed paths,
Yeah. My dad's side of the family's from there.
Fuck, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Well, fuck.
I go to my great grandmother's house, and there's like a shrine of one. There's like a picture of one of your ancestors with like a knife through it. And if you ever encounter one of these Thomas boys, they're evil.
I think it's like a split image. Like that's fucking heaven.
Oh man,
that would actually kind of suck, but
I'm not gonna lie, that'd be pretty funny to me.
I mean, one of the slaves' ancestors have to still still has to be around, right? I mean, surely he had. I don't know how many slaves he had. He had to have at least a dozen. I mean, they got to be around here somewhere. It'd be cool to track them down and say I'm sorry.
I was gonna say reestablish what she had going.
Well, no, I would never do that. It's wrong. That was.
Yeah, it is wrong.
Can't even believe that you would. Here at the Elitist Pizza Podcast, we take the edgy position that owning other people is wrong.
I mean, I think that's completely revolutionary. Nobody in America has ever thought that owning other people was wrong. Even today, like
nobody's so enlightened. I mean, if the world would just listen now, it's gonna be such a great place.
I know, right?
We have to be at least 20 minutes into this. We mentioned Iron Man once.
I know, right? Well, the actual Iron Man review will be like 5 minutes, or we'll just be sitting here the whole time.
Like talking about my fucked up racist ancestors.
We can jump right into it. Maybe we should explain a little bit of how we're gonna rate this, I guess.
Okay, so this is what I had in mind is. So we do pizza slices, and so 8 pizza slices is like a legendary film, like I don't even like Citizen Kane level. I've never actually seen Citizen Kane, but
some other movie.
And so 7 out of 8 is probably the best that you can get reasonably. Maybe I'd put like Terminator 2 was probably like an 8 out of 8, considering how legendary it is and stuff. And so I'm thinking 4 out of 10, 4 out of 8 would be like average.
Yeah, pretty average.
And 1 out of 8 obviously would just be like, would never watch this movie.
Yeah, like I literally couldn't finish it.
Yeah. Like I don't know, like Birdemic or something. I don't know.
I feel like that's what's gonna happen with me and Captain Marvel, but I'm gonna try to check it out. I actually haven't seen it, but I've heard really bad things. But let's get into Iron Man.
The plan is we're going to do a review of every MCU movie since, from Iron Man all the way to I guess the second Spider-Man one. I think that's the most recent.
Yeah, and then we'll go through whatever comes out when we can. Obviously,
Yeah,
with the things going on.
our plan is to go in release order, so that, we're starting with Iron Man.
Yeah, which
Okay,
is pretty good. So I think we should
yeah,
go.
what
over
is your initial thoughts on it?
So I saw it recently.
I think we
and
both
then I
watched it
saw it
yesterday.
again. Yeah. No, I
Okay.
saw it a little bit before that too. I saw it like maybe like 2 or 3 months ago, but I saw it again. And I think this movie, as far as MCU films go, I think this movie's supremely underrated. I think because it's not nearly on the same scale as some of the other ones, with all the more epic kind of things happening. This is a little bit more grounded. But I do think it doesn't get talked about enough. I think they did a really good job with the origin, because they could have another director could have really just made somebody else probably would have made Batman with a metal suit. I feel like that's what somebody else would have done. But I do think it's a pretty good movie. It doesn't get talked about nearly as much as I think it should. Obviously, I don't think it's like the best MCU film, but it's certainly far from the worst. So what do you think?
I mean, I pretty much feel the same way. I don't know. I mean, I think it's probably slightly above what people give it credit for. I'm trying to find some reviews of it now, like on Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. I mean, let's see. Rotten Tomatoes has a 94% critic score and a 91% audience score. So I mean, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. But I just don't hear people like actually talking about it. Like,
Yeah,
although it came out a while ago, though. But
that's true. I mean, it had a lot of things that I really liked in it. I really like, you can see the transition. Like, I mean, I kind of predicted where Tony Stark's arc was going to go, because Tony Stark's character is like, I mean, we all probably know this by now, but he's like a playboy, he's a millionaire, kind of like Bruce Wayne, like you kind of mentioned. But there's no like alter ego yet, obviously. Iron Man is still kind of has that, I'm really arrogant and brash, whereas Batman doesn't. And you see that in the beginning of the movie, and then he gets kidnapped, and well, I guess we'll go into the plot later. But I believe the transition. Right, a lot of movies have like this. Oh well, I'm gonna get bound and I'm gonna get a family, and you don't buy it. But I really buy it with Tony Stark in this one, but he still keeps the bravado too. He doesn't just become a Boy Scout. Overnight. He keeps this kind of I'm a player type thing,
Yeah. And,
how did you feel? Did you feel like the CGI held up?
It held up better than I thought, especially after we go to the next film, which is
The Incredible Hulk. I remember I watched that in theaters actually when I was a kid.
Oh man, when you see it, I mean the CGI.
I'm pretty sure the CGI now is pretty bad.
Yeah. No, I mean the CGI in that one is like not even close to being as good as this is one.
But this one's not bad.
It's all right.
I was looking at the CGI, and you can tell it's an old movie. But when you watch some old movies, you're like, "Wow, this is so fake." But if you're not really looking for it, I mean, I think to the casual viewer, it's not really going to be that bad. Like the action in it is believable enough. I mean, there's no like ridiculous things. I mean, obviously, the idea of having a nuclear reactor in your chest is ridiculous. Yeah. But if you can get over that, which I think we can as Marvel Universe, everything in it's pretty believable in terms of science and stuff. I mean, the flight stuff kind of makes sense, and CGI just nothing really crazy about it happens. I don't know why my microphone just can't focus right, but my microphone can't focus, my camera can't focus.
I think, like I said before, they did a really good job with making it an origin film, and not because Iron Man's origin isn't that known to somebody who never read Iron Man before. Because before the MCU, if you would ask 10 people who Iron Man was, they couldn't tell you.
Yeah, he wasn't anything.
He was probably call him like a C-level hero, and this really elevated him to being essentially the backbone of the MCU. And I like the way that Jon Favreau did it, because it could have been it's a pretty similar story to Batman, but he did a very good job of making a contrast between the two, with how Batman, he's kind of like the playboy aspect of Bruce Wayne. It's all an act. Like he's not really like that. But with Tony Stark, that is his personality. That's his whole
Mhm.
personality. Obviously, he tones it down and changes a little bit, but he's still kind of that guy. And he's got a little bit of a jerk, but he has a little bit of a human side to him. Once he sees that, things are happening to people because of him. And I like how they didn't tie in his parents' death into his origin so much. Kind of like, again, because that would have made him just Batman with a metal suit. And I like how they did it where his parents' death isn't really even at all a driving factor of him becoming Iron Man.
Yeah,
It
they
has
vaguely mention his dad. They vaguely mention,
Yeah.
your dad would be proud of you, or make your
Like,
dad proud. But it's not like,
it's not a big thing. It doesn't become a big thing until we'll see. And have you seen Civil War?
I actually haven't.
Okay, I'm not gonna say too
I've
much, but
seen Iron Man 2 and 3, and I think in 2, I think in 2 or 3 it goes into about his dad, right? He just
yeah, his
discovers that
dad.
new element and stuff. They call
Yeah,
it
that.
Starkium or something.
Yeah.
Howardium.
And Winter Soldier, not Winter Soldier, and
Well,
Civil
let's try not
War.
to talk about too much about new movies, about other
You're right.
movies.
You're right. You're right.
Let's take
We'll
this
get
as a
there when we get
standalone
there.
story.
But
So maybe let's just start. Maybe let's go from beginning to end, and we'll just talk about it, the things we liked in the
yeah,
movie. And so it
things we
starts
didn't like
out.
so much.
So it
Right?
starts out, and it shows how um, it starts out at like a convention, and he's getting an award for something, and it says like Tony Stark. It shows how he's a child prodigy and stuff. And Jeff Bridges' character Obadiah or something like that.
Yeah.
Who eventually becomes the main antagonist in the climax. He takes the award, and Tony Stark is playing craps, and then he has sex with a journalist. And so we get this idea, like we were talking about, oh, he's this rich playboy who gambles. He doesn't show up to get his award. He gives the award to some random employee in the casino. I don't know if you caught that, but
Yeah.
and then after he has sex with a journalist, he's late to his plane to Afghanistan because he was messing around with a car. And then he goes to Afghanistan for a weapons display, and then he gets kidnapped by I guess the terrorists, by some militant group. And I really like this introduction because a lot of movies they take way too long to the exposition, but it's pretty fast paced here in the beginning. It's he's a gambler. It already establishes, okay, this guy, the Jeff Bridges character, is always having to pick up after Tony, and he doesn't show up to get his award. He's a gambler. He has sex with a journalist. Bada bing, bada boom. You introduce Pepper Potts in that too. Goes to the weapons expo. I mean, do you have anything to say about this part?
Yeah, I like how fast-paced it is, especially when you're trying to build a franchise. You don't want to make the mistake of taking 3,600 million years getting to the exposition, the rising action, and you're just sitting there bored out of your mind waiting for something to happen. I like how they get straight to it because there's not too much to kind of see with Tony. He's kind of a douche right now, and I like how they started out with him
He's not a
being
likable character.
Yeah,
you don't want to be.
You don't want to be Tony Stark. He's a womanizer. That's the only part I think anybody would try to emulate.
Well, I would say the wealth part. I mean, he doesn't want to be a billionaire, but he's also incredibly intelligent, right?
Yeah.
He's not a likable person.
Yeah, he's not likable. There's things about him that are good, but he always seems like he uses his I don't know, his attributes, I guess, for the wrong reasons. He uses intelligence to build weapons and to kind of
uses wealth to have sex with women, to have sex with animals. I mean, I guess it's not necessarily bad.
And just kind of just acts like he doesn't care about anything.
He ignored him. He ignored that journalist chick in the morning. He didn't even say anything to her. So he gets kidnapped by these militants, and they're like, "Hey, you need to make." He meets this linguist Jensen, and Jensen asks him "Oh, of course he knows who Tony Stark is," and he says "Oh, do you have a family?" And he's like, "No, I don't really have any family." And then he's like, "So Tony Stark, the man who has everything, but at the same time he has nothing." And in these kinds of scenes, you can see kind of how in the really arrogant "oh, I'm gambling" scenes, you can really see how Robert Downey Jr. is really good for this character because he can play the playboy really well, and he can also play in the intelligent part really well. Like, you can really see, I feel like if like Chris Evans or something did this role, I think it would. Uh, I don't have anything against Chris Evans, but I can't believe that Chris Evans is all like coming up with these schematics in his head or anything. And
or Tom Cruise like they originally wanted. That
dude, that would have never. No, that
would have been bad.
Tom Cruise wouldn't be a bad choice for like maybe Captain America, maybe.
Oh yeah, I could kind of buy that.
Maybe like a in like the 90s, like a university age Spider-Man. I could see, 90s Tom Cruise or something in that role, but.
Oh yeah.
But nevertheless, and so he's like, oh, you can kind of see like he gets sad, like he's like, yeah, I really don't have a family.
Yeah, they did a good job of showing Tony is a sympathetic character. Like there's more to him than just being a playboy, and maybe the playboy, not in the same way as Batman, but maybe the playboy aspect is a front. He's doing all this to kind of run away and not confront his demons instead of dealing with who he is. And
the way I like about this exposition, because it shows that you have the main sort of physical conflict of, hey, Tony Stark, the Stark Industries is selling weapons to both to both sides of the conflict in Afghanistan, and you have Tony Stark is a womanizer who doesn't really have a family, he's kind of covering up something. Boom, you have it there in the first 20 minutes, and like you said, you don't want to take 3 million years to it. And of course, Tony Stark is going to get out of this cave. I mean, there's no real tension there because at the beginning of the movie, I mean, we're not going to spend the whole movie in the Afghanistan caves. I mean, that would be a lot of different movie.
Somebody else would have done that, but Jon Favreau again did a very good job.
And I could see a movie like that. Like it's like kind of like a Saving Private Ryan movie where they're all sitting down talking or something. But I don't. that would be like a really unique movie. But nevertheless, and so he builds like the Mark I suit. He gets out, and like the dude says what town he's from. I forget the name of it, and he's like, "My family's already dead. I want this." And he's like, "I think Tony Stark probably hadn't seen someone die in front of him before." Yeah. And he escapes, and with the help of the U.S. military, he gets out, and then he comes back home, comes back to New York or whatever the hell, and he's like, "I want a cheeseburger," and you have the Burger King product placement, and then I want to call a press conference, and then he tells them, "I'm not gonna Stark Industries isn't gonna sell weapons anymore."
Yeah, and that's when you start to see Obadiah like, "Oh, whoa, hold on now, you can't do this," because I mean, that's their bread and butter. He's like, this is all we do. I mean, we later find out that there's more reasons why he doesn't want to stop selling weapons other than just that. But
yeah,
you can see that experience alone just not completely, but it really changed who Tony was. He's more focused on being a hero, trying to help the little guy instead of sitting up in his mansion, throwing parties and making it rain on people.
It shows that, he sort of. I mean, because the movie shows that he was in the cave for 3 months, and so this just shows like he has a change of heart.
Yeah.
I didn't like Obadiah as a villain. I thought he was kind of a bad villain. Did you like Obadiah?
Part of me likes him, but he's probably the second most forgettable villain in my opinion in the MCU.
Next to Malachi or whatever the fuck his name is.
Malekith. Yeah, I completely forgot about Malekith. And Obadiah, he's a cool character in the comics or whatever. Not really cool. He's all right. So it was cool to see him, but like he's not too memorable. But he's really the only part of the movie where I'm like, because he's not really there being evil much. He's just like, oh, I want the money and stuff.
Yeah,
his motivation's kind of like not lame, but it's been done before, and it's like they didn't really go into like why he feels the way he feels about. They're just like this is what he's doing.
He's evil. He wants money, and I thought you were gonna be like, oh, I actually really liked Obadiah, so I'm happy that I thought you were going with it. I don't know.
No.
You really liked, Dr. Octopus, whatever.
Whoa, Dr. Octopus is okay.
Okay, so we need to just do a whole episode on Spider-Man too. Well, no, we need to do a whole episode on that Spider-Man franchise.
Yeah, so I can show you the genius of Sam Raimi.
You need to do the trilogy. Yeah, we need to do the trilogy. Okay, nevertheless, um, Spider-Man 3 is the better movie out of those two movies, by the way.
I'll choke slam you right now.
I think it's better than it gets credit for, though. If you don't take it seriously,
it's a little bit.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than people give it credit for. Like, I think people are starting to realize that now. But
Yeah. But
back to we'll get.
so he says that Stark Industries isn't going to sell weapons anymore. And then he goes and he starts working on, and Obadiah, the Jeff Bridges character, is like, "Hey, just stay out of the limelight, and I'll fix this." And he's like, "All right." So he works on like the Iron Man suit. You know, he goes up and he makes Mark II, which is like silver, and then he goes up in the air and it freezes, so he has to put like a coating on it. And yeah, that's just kind of important later in the plot. And then what happens exactly after that is I think that's when they go to the he randomly shows up to this like conference. So they have like this conference, and he's like watching on TV and like there's no way Tony Stark's gonna show up. So of course Tony Stark has to show up. So he speeds there in his Audi. He shows up, and him and Pepper Potts could have this moment where they're like, he's like, damn, look at who's that redhead in the backless dress, and he goes, to game on her, and it's Pepper Potts. She's oh shit.
Yeah.
And they have like this cool like back and forth of dancing, and she's like, oh, I feel comfortable dancing with my boss. He's like, well, I could fire you if it makes you feel better. Thinking about it now in 2020, that is kind of a weird, has kind of a Me Too vibe.
Yeah, he wouldn't have gotten away with that.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah. But I think it kind of works in this movie.
Yeah. When
they like go to this balcony and like they almost kiss, and then I think something interrupts them. Someone like calls Tony or something. Someone gets Tony's attention, and then Tony goes and gets her a margarita or something. And then Obadiah tells him that he's voted him out of the board, of the company. So he's no longer president of the company. And of course, that's like what the fuck. And then he goes, and again, like this is just like, oh, he's evil, and
yeah, exactly.
He wants to cut out Tony Stark. Like,
I would have loved for them to go more in depth on like they never go. They go into like who's doing it, what they're doing. But they never go into why exactly he's doing it. I'm like, if it's just money, why does he need the money? He's already decently rich.
What if he's like a cocaine addict or something? Like he's
just money. Like, oh my god, I'm spending all my money on cocaine. I need more.
Yeah, like what if it was like that? Or what if he was like a sex addict? I mean, maybe that would be a little too edgy, but I mean, the way I think I think that what they were going for is like he's had to pick up Tony Stark's shit. He's always been in his shadow, and now he wants to get the attention. But they really should have set that up better.
Yeah,
I mean, they should have.
He's not really even in the movie that many times.
He can't have more than 20 minutes screen time. I mean, they should have set it up. They should have been like, they should have shown more things. Like they should have shown like
him
Tony Stark
to somebody else, or
Tony Stark crashes a car and like someone gets like paralyzed, and then Obadiah's got to like pay him off, and he's got to deal with all this like PR nightmare, and like Tony Stark just destroys like a plane. He pisses all over it or something, and Obadiah's got to like hire the people and fix it up, like something like that. Like years of like, man, Tony Stark, I hate this guy. Then I could have kind of got it. Even then, it would have been kind of shallow. But I think that's what they were going for. Or maybe it was.
That's definitely what they were going for. It's just I could see what they were going for. The execution just wasn't there. Obadiah, there's not, because we start off with Tony kind of already, like Obadiah already hates him. They could have done maybe like a flashback or something. I mean, something, or just showing us like somebody showing up and they're like, oh, I want my monthly payment for Tony Stark ramming me with his freaking Audi.
But what if like Obadiah is like paralyzed because Tony like ran into him? like Tony was racing him, and Jebediah like wasn't all down for it or something, and he ran into him, and so he's just in a wheelchair the whole time. And Tony's like, yeah, but we're still good friends. Just an accident. And Obadiah's like, yeah,
Yep, just an accident.
yeah, like he's got to hold it in because of like he knows he can't go against Tony Stark, so he's putting the chess pieces together so he can finally bring him down. Like that would have been a cooler. What if Tony Stark's like killed his daughter or something? Like it seems like that would have been like that would have brought it up to the next level. But I guess.
I mean,
and it would have made him a more tragic character too. It would have made Tony Stark like, man, this guy really is an asshole, and you would have to like, and there would have been like how a good person can go bad and a bad person can go good. But I think they were going like with this more like military industrial complex type.
Yeah, and they could. And there's other stuff they could have done. They could have maybe Tony had a drinking problem like way worse than they show in the movies, and he's like killing people like or he's just doing like really stupid stuff like in Demon in a Bottle, which is an Iron Man story. Where he's getting drunk all the time to the point where he literally like can't use the Iron Man suit, so he has to get like a stand-in. It's really weird. He gets a black dude too. He gets Rhodey to do it.
Oh, I see.
But just not obviously they couldn't do that, but like something where he's just like as a result of him partying and drinking, like it just ruins Obadiah's like day. Like it happens all the time.
Yeah, and so
it's just shown it way more. Yeah.
Maybe he like goes through like alcohol withdrawal in like the cave, and he's got like this, and he's got like he talks about it, Levinson or something. Yeah, that would have been a way stronger movie, and it would have been like they made you hate Tony Stark, and then throughout the rest of the movie, you start liking him more, and it would have been like they have to win you liking him. It would have been a way edgier movie, but
at the time, I guess I can see why you don't want to take so many risks when you're trying to start a franchise, but they could have made it a way stronger movie. It could have made it way more memorable.
And so, what is his name? Coulson, Agent Coulson, is in this movie, and that's kind of how they set up. It's kind of obvious that they were trying to set up some sort of franchise because he goes up to Pepper Potts and is like, "Hey, we need to talk to him." And I think that if you were like a comic book guy, you would know he's saying SHIELD because he says like, what is it? It's like something Homeland, security of the Homeland and interior, something. And
I know what you're saying.
They don't say SHIELD until like the after credit scene, and I didn't notice that. I didn't remember that, and it's like they did have this in mind. They were setting it up, and so after the Jeff Bridges tells him to fuck off thing, he starts to like I think he has like a fuck this moment, and he builds up the suit and he like goes to Afghanistan and he saves some people's lives, and that was pretty cool. I feel like we should have had more of that. I feel like that we should have had a few more scenes of him in Afghanistan. Like, what if, like, he went to Afghanistan? Because the 10 Rings is the name of the militant group. He never deals with the militant group. It's like he
Wait a minute. Yeah. The 10 Rings is the. Oh, snap. We've been building that up for a while.
He fights them a few times, and then he just kind of never comes back to it.
So not to get off track, but no, I don't believe he's gotten around to coming back to it, but we will be getting the conclusion of the whole 10 Rings thing in like a future movie.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, because I know they're bringing in like the real like Mandarin for the Shang-Chi movie, and I'm pretty sure he has something to do with the 10 Rings, so we'll probably get the conclusion of that, but I don't really think I'll care as much.
Let me take this call. I'm a real professional podcaster.
I mean, that's why we're reviewing it. Now you'll know everything. So now that he's not listening, let's talk about how I'm going to brutally murder Evan. So first, okay, I'm going to drive over to where he's at. Secret location. I can't tell you guys. I'm gonna film it for an episode for you guys. I'm gonna just beat him to death. I'm gonna beat Evan to death with my bare hands, okay? And in his room while he's filming the podcast, he won't know that I'm in the area. I'm gonna come in. His mom's like, "Oh," and I'll be like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" And I just start beating him to death, right? Stomping his face in. Then I'm gonna drag him out back. I don't think he'll die. I think he's tough enough. He'll survive. I'm I'm gonna drag him out back, right? And I'm gonna nail his hands to the ground, and then I'm gonna weld a dog to his face, and I'm gonna make him a real life dog welder. That's a DC character. He welds the dogs to people's faces. So I'm gonna weld a dog to his face. I'm not sure how that works. We're gonna find out and weld a dog to his face, and
I had to make sure
then
that
I'm going
wasn't
to. Oh, hey, man.
important.
How are you doing, Evan?
Doing pretty
Just
good.
talking to our viewers. Did you hear anything I said?
Nope.
Oh, good. It was nothing about beating you to death or welding a dog to your face. Nothing
That's
like that
good.
at all.
Well, that's fine and dandy. So, so yeah, but like it feels weird that he wouldn't. I think they like the writers forgot about it or something. But so after he has that cool fight scene, Obadiah like goes to the Ten Wings, and we see that they actually like know each other and stuff, and
Yeah, yeah.
they like
Oh, also you forgot the part with the military where Tony's flying away and they're like,
yeah,
"Yo, we
they have
gotta
like a
figure."
close call, and
Yeah, and Rhodey almost finds Rhodey. I think Rhodey at this point knows. Honestly,
no,
it kind of feels like it because
well
he's
he
like
calls him,
he's
and
questioning, he's calling him and he's questioning him, and he's like, "Yeah, what is that?" And they
well he
know what to
calls him back.
do.
He calls him back and he
Yeah,
says, "Hey, it's me. I'm in the suit."
yeah, yeah,
And so I really don't like Rhodey in this one. I mean, he's kind of
yeah.
like, "Oh, I'm here. I'm not here. Oh God, I just Oh wow, Tony, that's interesting. Oh yeah, I'll help you with that. Oh wow, Tony, you shouldn't be doing that. It's just like a
I like the way they write him in the other movies, and that's probably part of the reason why they recasted him as well, just
yeah.
because it didn't fit. But yeah, I didn't really like him. Terrence, I think it was Terrence Howard. I think it's his name. Um,
I'm
but
trying to figure out like um
we're
why
trying to figure out.
did they recast him because of was like the actor not down, or was it just because they didn't like the way his performance?
I think it was a money thing.
Like he wanted more money than he was worth or something?
Yeah, yeah. Don Cheadle was gonna take less money than he was. They were just like, get
Oh,
out of here.
whatever.
I think he's worth the money, to be honest. But it was kind of sad. But I like that they did Don Cheadle, and he's not really too hurt about it. So
Don Cheadle seemed more like a Don Cheadle didn't seem as rough. He seemed like I'm a soldier and I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Like
yeah,
he kind of had more of a Boy Scout thing, and I think that's what Iron Patriot is kind of supposed to be. So,
yeah,
but so and then Iron Man after the Afghanistan thing. So Obadiah goes and talks to the Ten Wings guys, and they exchange information. Like the Ten Wings guys, like, okay, well, if you promise to sell to us in perpetuity, then I'll give you this information on the Mark One suit. Then he uses those plans to make his own suit, which is
yeah.
kind of weird and dumb. And Pepper, like,
So I will say it is weird that he makes his own suit, but it makes sense in the context that that's what Obadiah does in the comics. He makes his own bigger Iron Man suit, but it's just like it's weird in the context of the movie because it just didn't make any sense. It's
yeah,
just like, oh, I want to build my own Iron Man suit
yeah, there was no
because
like
he's like because I think it'll look cool or something. Like they didn't really
because
explain.
it, so let me go back for a second. So like Pepper like hacks into Obadiah's computer and finds out. And Obadiah has like this device that uses sound to paralyze people, which it's kind of weird that they've never used that in the MCU, but whatever. And so he uses that against Tony Stark, and then he takes out his heart and leaves him to die. Of course, like every good villain does. But if his goal was just to kill Tony Stark, why didn't he just kill him then? He could just like pushed him down the stairs or something, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, he could have just slapped him kind of hard and he wouldn't have. He just would have been done.
I mean, yeah, but no, he leaves him there, and then he goes to occupy. He rushes to occupy the suit. Like, why? To try it
Who's
out?
gonna stop you? Yeah, nobody knows you're doing it. Like nobody's gonna.
Wouldn't you just? Well, I mean, I guess it's not. There was probably some scientists and stuff that helped him, but they don't know why. I mean, he could have just like left it there, and it's like oh, we need to have a cool Iron Man suit battle, so we're gonna have Jebediah run towards it, and
I mean,
he
he could have. Because he could have literally stabbed Tony, and then which would have took like 5 seconds, and then he could have just went and got the suit anyway.
I mean, I guess he might have cameras, but if he has cameras on his estate, then Obadiah's fucked already because he's seen taking out his heart thing that he needs to live. So that's murder anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like,
just go all the way, brother.
And so, and then he gets to the Stark Industries compound, and he gets in the suit, and for no reason he attacks Pepper Potts and the Shield agents. No reason at all. He doesn't know that they're a threat to him, right? Or am I missing something?
Not from what I remember. I don't think he actually knows that they're like a real threat to him. I guess he's just like, I gotta stop anybody that's in my way, like literally in his way. So they're like, actually in his path, and he's like, all right, I'm just gonna kill you.
You know what? This is what they should have done. Okay, he should have been like a coke addict or a meth addict, right? Like he's doing meth to do like all night bingers to work on like schematics projects, and it just gets worse. He starts selling his house. He's all bad for money, so he's got to try and like buy out Tony's shares to do something. He's got to deal under the table to these terrorists to make money, to fuel his addict and all the debt that he's in. And when you're in meth addict, right, you get paranoid. So he gets paranoid. He's like, Tony's planning something against me. So he starts spying on Tony, and you say, oh my God, he's got the suit. I got to get my own suit. That's me. Right? I mean, that would be way more believable. I mean, it might be kind of quacky.
There's reasons why they didn't do that, but something.
I don't know. It would have been cool.
I think they're going for like him going crazy, like. But it's like,
but they didn't really set it up.
Yeah, they didn't set it up. He's just like I'm normal, and now I'm crazy. Now I'm insane. Ah!
Okay, this is what they could have done. Oh, okay. Maybe this is what they could have done. Okay, so Obadiah has a house with security cameras. Okay, when Tony goes up in the Mark II, and the ice makes where he falls, he like lands in Obadiah's house. Like Obadiah's got camera footage of it, and he kills like Obadiah's baby daughter or something. And Obadiah just goes fucking nuts. He's like, I gotta build my own fucking suit and take that. And so he builds his own suit, and he's like, I have to kill Tony. I mean, that would have been kind of cheesy because it's like, what are the odds? But at least they would have set it up. I mean, I'm not a Hollywood writer, but you know.
Well, I mean, it doesn't take much to be one of those. I mean, honestly, I mean, if you just remake just think of a movie that came out like 20, 30 years ago, and then just remake it.
Yeah, I mean, just do the live action version of it.
Yeah, we'll do a live action Brave. Now I'm in Hollywood.
What even is Brave? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, it's a Pixar movie about this girl.
Rings a bell.
Like, and she turns like her family into like bears. There's a lot more that goes into it, but like it's actually a pretty good film.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Is she's Scottish or something?
Yeah. One of the issues.
Oh, it says okay. Yeah, we made. Well, that was made 2012. It's still got. You got to wait like a decade or something.
Yeah, you got probably like 2 years. It'll be all right.
Well, 101 Dalmatians live action.
I'm like 100%. I'm like 90% sure they're probably gonna do that.
We got to do that. We got to do an episode about live action adaptations.
just we'll sit here and make our own, like of something completely stupid.
Dude. I'm putting that on the document.
All right. But let's get back to Iron Man real quick.
Okay. I mean, this is all you really need to know for the climax, honestly. So the climax happens. He's in his own suit. He's got like this really big suit. Obadiah does, and they just have this. And and because he's got to use like his original arc reactor heart thing because Obadiah took his second one because like no one else other than Tony Stark could make it, which is kind of convenient, but it's just like it was kind of already set up that Tony Stark is this ridiculously smart person. So I think it's forgivable.
It makes sense. It makes sense at least at that point because it was like he was the only person that really needed one. So it was like who else would know how to make it at least at that point.
This is what I. So, okay, okay. So before we talk about the climax, Tony Stark wants to save the world. All he needs to do is release the schematics and the way to make that little mini arc reactor, and he revolutionizes the world. Because if everybody has a mini arc reactor, you could have one for your car. Your car could run 40 years, and you never have to charge it with that one arc reactor, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if Tony wants to make he could sell it. I mean, right? He could sell them to company. I mean, you could run factories on it and stuff. I mean, and it's green. I mean, if he really wants to improve the world, I mean, that's what he could do.
Yeah, he'd have to make I don't know why he didn't do that. Well, I guess like there's always somebody who's gonna be like, oh, I'm just gonna make this a bomb.
I mean, I get it's a move.
You know how these movies go. Like, if they did that, somebody would have came down the line and been like, I'm gonna strap 20 of these together and blow up your house.
Well, at the very least, though, you could give it to companies, right?
Yeah, that could have worked.
So,
I don't know. It's a superhero movie, you know. It's just
all the oil and stuff that's burnt to generate electricity for like factories and mills and stuff. If you just had an arc reactor in there, and you could just have a small one, and boom. I mean, it can pretty much power a jet, because that's pretty much what he goes supersonic in the movie. So if it can power a jet, I mean, it should be able to power a factory, right? I mean, I don't know much about energy, but at the very least, you could do something like that. And it's never established how much it cost, but it wasn't like it. I guess he is a billionaire, but even if it costs like $2 million or $2 over long term, it should be like a good investment for like a company.
Yeah,
and then you could keep
more
improving
than that back.
Yeah, and if you make it in bulk and you wholesale it, I mean, of course, everyone and their mom is going to be one of those. It's something that occurred to me. I'm like a lot of superheroes, when they make technology like that, it's like, well, if they would just share this with the world, like it would have been, they could just save a bunch of lives, or it would be good for the environment at the very least.
Yeah, but I just think they don't want to, you know? They just they want to save the world in maybe a more literal sense. It reminds me of this Spider-Man comic I was reading. There's this guy. He had this technology where he could rewrite DNA. And Spider-Man was like, he's turning people into dinosaurs.
The memes.
You see the meme? And he was like, I don't want to cure cancer. I want to turn people into dinosaurs.
You can turn it. I don't want to cure cancer.
I just thought that was so funny. But
I mean, think about not even the cure cancer element too. You could cure. I mean, if it's like, oh, you know, I want to be a black man. Okay, well, let's change your genetics. All those new cells that you make will be that of an African person. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, trans people, like, you could just be like, oh, okay, now all your cells are XX. So I don't know how that would work with like penises and stuff, but
maybe it'll just revert back. I don't know.
Well, if people can turn into dinosaurs, then I mean, an
XY
person can turn into XX. I mean, without a doubt.
Surely that can happen in a world where you can turn into a dinosaur.
But anyway, so in the climax, it's pretty much just a CGI fight. He ends up winning because he goes up into the air, and
his Obadiah suit freezes
because and they already set it up, so it's fine. And then Obadiah falls down, and like he still doesn't win, so Pepper has to like overload the reactor, and there's this huge explosion, and it's like it makes New York black out, and I guess Obadiah dies. It's not really clear whether he kills him or not.
Yeah, right? I'm pretty sure he died. Yeah, he definitely died. Which it starts my my kind of beef with not just the MCU but with comic book movies, where it's like there's a few that they don't, but it's like, in my opinion, it's like I hope they understand that like they don't have to kill the villain every time. Like you don't have to do that every single time. Like it's okay to have a villain stick around. You can have
Obadiah tried to kill him. Why not just have he goes to prison?
Yeah, I mean, especially in the superhero world, like they're not thinking like me and you. Like if it was me, yeah, I would have killed him too. But in the comics, they would be like, you murdered like 1 million people. Time to send you to an insane asylum. Time to send you to jail.
I mean, I can kind of get because he kills the people in Afghanistan, and they were like trying to kill innocent civilians.
Yeah.
And Obadiah does put innocent civilians in danger, and he tries to kill Tony Stark.
And Tony Stark's not.
Does
Not really
attempted
like,
murder really justify killing the dude? I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
but I mean,
And what about the police? I mean, no police is going to show up after all of these incidents for like the dude who wrote he's like, oh yeah, it's a training exercise. What? You guys getting training exercise in New York? And second of all, the police aren't going to be on in like the same network. I mean, right? So the police probably would have shown up and they would have started shooting at Jeb Obadiah at least or something. But no, we don't even see the police come up afterwards. It's like the writing in like the first half of this movie was pretty good. And it's like in the second half they just were like,
yeah, they're just kind of like,
they're like, yeah, we need to release this. I think it was released in like April 2008. We need to release this in April. It's like, well, we only have 2 months left to write it. We only really written like the first half. Oh, I don't care, get it done. It's like, oh God, Jesus. That's really what it was like.
yeah. I mean, and it's still good. It still holds up for the time, but it's just like there's some things that I don't like in it.
It's not perfect.
Again, overall, like I'm not too happy. Like I get it. I kind of get why Tony Stark would kill villains, but it's like it happens a little too often in these comic book movies where it's like, all right, well, you're a villain. I'm just gonna murder you. You're literally just going to die. But I get it. It's supposed to be a little bit more grounded, and like if these superheroes are real, like most of these, we wouldn't have like the Joker escaping every time. Like at some point, this was real. Like Batman would literally, Batman would. So a cop, not even Batman, a cop would have just shot him in the face.
Oh yeah,
they'd be like, at some point they're not gonna be like, stop, freeze. They'll be like, oh, it's the Joker. I'll do the time for this. Boom. I just saved like $1 billion.
Well, not even like to the time. I mean, there's plenty of criminals, and like the FBI's most wanted, where it's like, if you see him, shoot to kill. I mean, and the Joker would obviously be like at least top 5 in the world. I mean, it'd just be like, oh, he's a Joker. But it's like, well, I don't know. It just looks like a clown. It's like, we can't take chances, man. This is the Joker. Boom. Oh, it was a clown. Okay, well, he had a gun.
We saved somebody.
He was probably a pedophile anyway. I mean, living clouds. But I guess that's about it. I mean, so what's your rating for this? What you rating for?
Man, this is a hard one. I would give it. Man, it's kind of hard that we're doing 8, and I really don't want to be out here giving half slices.
We can do 10. We can do 10.
I prefer 8 just to go with the
pizza team.
I give it what, like 5 out of 8? What is that, like 60%, something like that, around 60%. So I give it like maybe 5 out of 8. I could see somebody giving an argument for 6, but I'd definitely give it like 5. That's like 60.
I'm between 5 and 6 too.
Yeah, that's 40%. That's like 40%. That's kind of bad. But no, it's not.
Because Florida
it's 62%. So it's not bad. Yeah, I give it like whatever. We don't need to go into percentages.
So
I'll give it a 5. Yeah, 5 out of 8.
5 out of 8. Yeah, it's a slightly above average movie. I wouldn't say go back and watch it. I mean, maybe if you're like a real if you're a real Marvel guy and you're like, hey, I really want to rewatch them all. You know, it's not like, oh, I can't sit through this movie, or oh my God, this is awful. It's an enjoyable movie.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. If you don't have to watch it, or if you don't really, really want to, you wouldn't, especially with all the other MCU movies that are a lot better, in my opinion. This is, I would say, we'll get to this on probably like episode 20 something when we finally finish these main phases.
There's 23 episodes. There's 23 movies.
Yeah, so maybe like because I know we'll do some stuff in between. So maybe whatever the last.
We plan to rank them at some point in time.
Yeah, we're gonna do like after that. We're gonna do like a tier list. We'll put this somewhere in there. I would say there's a couple of movies I would put like below this for sure. I haven't seen Captain Marvel, so I can't say, but I do have a feeling it'll be there. But I'm trying to go in there unbiased. But there's a couple.
Thor: The Dark World, you know.
Yeah, there's that one.
I might even put the first Thor underneath this movie. I mean, honestly.
Yeah. You're gonna hate me for this one. I'd put.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, you know what? Nah, I put it like tied with this one. Maybe even a little. Just maybe like.
I think Ragnarok is a little better because the plot's more consistent and.
Yeah, I thought maybe a little bit better, but not by much. But we're getting a little too far ahead of ourselves, I guess. But I would say this is an enjoyable film. Um, if you haven't seen it in a while, I might recommend it if you're feeling up to it.
I'd say maybe
Uh,
give it a second look. It's kind of nice to look at it after having already seen a lot of the Marvel films, and even if you haven't, and you want to get into it. This really isn't a bad place to start. It's one that started them all, and it's a pretty good movie. It's got a little bit of a different tone than a lot of the newer Marvel movies because it's kind of trying to get its own place. Honestly, I think it's probably the best Iron Man movie that we got.
um, hmm.
I guess
I'm trying
we'll
to think.
see that here pretty soon, but
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, we'll see pretty soon. I might have to agree with that. I think two is pretty good. I think two is at least as good as this one, maybe a little bit less, but we'll see when we get there. Um, but
all
we'll
right.
see.
Well,
Yeah.
anything else to say?
Um, Baba Booey,
That movie.
Baba Booey.